of all, before we get into the technical details of the artificial intelligence, I would like to say that I'm fortunate, I'm thrilled, and I'm super excited that this is the most interesting topic, my favorite topic, which has been given to me to present to you, that what are our thoughts on this. I think this morning, every panelist, every doctor has suggested the use of AI, involvement of AI. We don't have to overemphasize what AI is, what it's going to do for us. We all know that. But I think the major perspective is that where do we go from here? So before we bring this new animal called AI into this room, I would like to say that we should bid a farewell, and rather I would say through this platform, I would like to say a final goodbye to the old friend, the friend who was before AI. That's obsolescence, the fear of getting obsolete. All what we have been having since long is that we are doing a lot of research, we are trying to survive whatever thing because we don't want to get obsolete. I'm a science student. At some time in life, we all had studied Darwin's theory. And what was Mr. Darwin saying? Survival of the fittest. Those who couldn't adapt, who couldn't fix themselves, who couldn't, I would say, were dynamic or aggressive, who were not able to adapt to the circumstances, they have, I don't want to say extinct, they have become obsolete. And I'm not recollecting the dinosaurs now. The dinosaurs are no more available. Only for the kids, you can find them at a toy shop. So when we talk of AI, we have to always assume that we are talking something against not getting obsolete. I remember when we were kids, we always wanted to grow, study more, this, that, because we want to be relevant. And when my kids were going to college, when they were going to school, my daughter is sitting here, we were always saying, by the time you come back from college, we'll be obsolete. You have to take the reins. You have to carry the things forward. But I must say that with time, with technology, we have defied that. My daughter is already married. I'm standing in front of you discussing AI. That's the power of technology. Are you with me in this? So we have to defy the obsolescence. We have to defy our, I would say, the formula that we will not be relevant. Today's world in technology, everything is moving so fast. I'm not saying only saying the technologies are coming so fast. Technologies are getting obsolete also very fast. I do not know, I'm seeing more of young people. Anybody had heard or seen iPod? iPod was the most favorite, most passionate product of Steve Jobs. How many years did it survive? Any guesses? 7 years total. After with the launch of iPhone, iPod was struggling. Of course, iPod was died in 2007-8. Of course, it was finally cremated last year. Apple stopped producing that. And that's happening to our life also. Sometimes we stop growing. I don't want to use a bad word, but I would say we stop growing. Technically, we die. We are cremated many years later. So the day we stop growing, the day we become obsolete, the day we become irrelevant, so that's what the whole issue today is. When I'm talking of AI, why we are talking of obsolescence? Because AI is a new friend of ours who does not get obsolete. AI is ever evolving. It's ever changing, ever learning day by day, learning minute by minute. When we talk of human brain, centuries ago, we had lots and lots of adaptations, and I think even the Darwin theory is 1,000-year-olds, but we haven't evolved much. But we have evolved, we have survived, that is why we are here. Even if we are discussing AI today, because we survived. But now where do we go from here? I would say that when we are working in business, when we are working in our life, we always need some assistance. You might have seen at your homes, you might have seen some old movies, you might have seen in your day-to-day life, you always have a so-called a man Friday. Everybody has some sort of a assistant. And if you look at some old movies, you have that Munshi. A Thakur has got a Munshi who keeps all the accounts. So Munshi is the man Friday of the Thakurji or Lalaji. So that Munshi keeps the records, he keeps everything ready, and he whatever is required, so all records are available with that one person. And what all the owner has to do and what all the Thakur has to do is call Munshi, that's all. And he would say, okay, iska itna, iska lena dena, whatever, that's fine. Somebody is keeping an account. But over a period of time, that Munshi hasn't evolved. And that is why now you got accountants. That is why now you got chartered accountants. Now you got virtual accountants. Now you got online, because now is the time people are looking for it, that now we need to evolve every day. If you would, I've seen some your neighborhood stores, some old Kirana stores, where that Lalaji is sitting there since last 20 years. So other than their tummy, nothing else is growing. So the Lalaji is sitting there on the seat for 20 years and there's no evolution. And someday, the younger son who studies abroad, or maybe he studies MBA, he comes back, वो लाला जी को आगे बाहर स्टूल पे बिठा देते हैं कि आपका बहुत हो गया, that's it, now you vacate the seat. I think that is what is happening now, that if we are not evolving, we have to just sit outside on the stool because there's no evolution. So I would say that with that background, without any fear of obsolescence, without any fear of getting obsolete any time, here we come with a new form or the new animal, that's artificial intelligence. And when we say artificial intelligence, the name itself is, I would say, very interesting, very amusing, and I would say to an extent contradictory. When we say artificial, and you would assume that we're talking something fake, something spurious. And when we talk of artificial, but of course we have artificial jewelries. And of course Modi ji has even given lab-made diamonds to Mr. Biden. So there's nothing artificial. Artificial only means made by human beings. So it's not fake, it's not spurious, it's only made by human beings. Now question comes of intelligence. I think that is where the whole story is. It's artificial, but intelligence. When we talk of intelligence, we go back to the brain power. I think in the morning you had some sessions on the mental development, brains, and so much technical things happen. But I would say I love AI because it increases my capacity of the brain. Our brain has immense power. Nobody actually knows how much brain power do we use. Some people say 10%, some people say 8%, some people say all brain cells are used. To what extent these cells are used and to what extent do we occupy our neurosystem, nobody has got the right guess. But still, it has lots and lots of opportunities to improve. So that is where this intelligence comes in. Human beings are the smartest species in the world. They have got intelligence, they've got compassion, they've got sympathy, they've got sensibilities. Now they have developed a new friend and a new buddy, which I call artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is a piece which evolves like us, like human beings. So like I said, that iPod got obsoleted. And do you remember old age TVs? The TVs were size of those big washing machines. And if you remember those old computers, XTs and HTs, and I don't think anybody would miss a radio anymore. So now we are at a situation that even a 76 inches TV is just lying flat. A 76 inches TV, or I would say even an 86 inches TV will just sit on a wall like a scenery. So this is how the technology has evolved. But now, how would the artificial intelligence evolve itself? Artificial intelligence evolution is self-involved. So the way it works is the more data it has, the more it works, it's learning. It's learning every day, every minute. And the beauty is it corrects itself, it improves itself, it makes its own software, it changes direction, it starts to think like human beings because it has been wired like that, it has been programmed like that. Now when we go from here that, okay, now we have a machine, and I would compare now, I'll go back to that earlier example of our old Munshi. That Munshi was not supposed to interfere with the business of Lalaji. Munshi was just supposed to have a record. He had no powers. But now, instead of that Munshi, you have got an OSD, an IAS officer, Pada Likha, with all the data, all the record, all the processes, with zillion time computing power, with trillions of bytes of data. And of course, this assistant understands all the languages, this has got all the storage, this can read, this can write, this can make images, and of course, it can draw, it can understand your mind.
By repeated directions, it can understand what you are trying to do. So I would say, instead of a Munshi, now we got a qualified OSD who has got all the power, all the science behind it. Now comes the role of AI in a healthcare. I think this is the fantastic, this is the most important part. AI is the most confusing and more interesting and I would say most mysterious part. There is a lot of hue and cry whether it's going to pick up the jobs, it's going to eat up jobs of everybody. But thankfully, it's a boon for pharma industry, for the healthcare industry, because the biggest thing AI has done, and of course you have been listening since morning, is the diagnosis. AI can read images. Simple, plain words. It can read, it can label, it can categorize, it can detect. You give 1 million images, it can detect which image has got the right thing you're looking for. Out of 1 million cells, it can detect which is the cancerous cells. Out of, I would say, 1 billion images, it can select which image is not right or not perfectly right. It can process, it can store, it can record. And in the healthcare industry, scanning is the first point of, I would say, diagnosis. Whether it is an X-ray, it's a CT scan, or it's an MRI, whatever scans we are doing, it's all digital forms. And once we have the data, imagine, we got 70, I would say around 70,000 public health facilities in India, around 37, 38,000 hospitals, an equal number of public facilities. Then we have 100,000 diagnostic labs. 20% of them are radiology labs. If these 100,000 labs, and I would say another 70,000 hospitals, they all have got data. If we collect all the data, and if I would say AI would have been there, say 50 years ago, imagine the quantum of data we have, the quantum of knowledge we have. What's happening earlier was that, if you remember, I do not know, I have seen in my life, there used to be an Ayurvedic treatment. It is still there. There used to be Vaid. Vaid ji hote the lambe se. And Vaid ji bimar hai, to dukaan band hai. So Vaid ji ke paas ek technology thi, he had all the knowledge. But that knowledge was not digitalized. That knowledge was not recorded. So that knowledge went in the air when Vaid ji died. Vaid ji ka beta foreign पढ़ के आया, वो कहता है पापा की दुकान पे नहीं बैठना, ये अपने केले के बीच में नमक डाल के देना, काली मिर्च के साथ बादाम खाने, I don't care. So the knowledge died. But if that Vaid ji was doing, I would say, through an AI, we would have preserved that knowledge. And all the Vaid jis all over the world, we would have done, I would say, wonderful wonders even with Ayurveda. फिर UK वाले या US वाले जाके हल्दी का पेटेंट नहीं लेते. So we had the knowledge, but we had no transmission of the knowledge. So I would say that now with the AI, everything is documented, everything is digitalized, and there are already labs sitting in Delhi, sitting in Gurgaon. They are doing your testing based on the AI, based on the data available with them, within India, within the same set of health parameters. And of course, if global data is there, you can imagine how smart our OSD is going to be. PA बोलते ना PA, ये PA की वजह V है, virtual assistant. So this is your friend for tomorrow, and I am not getting into details what AI can do, particularly on the pharma sector, on the healthcare sector. So it has got immense potential, starting with, I would say, if we start from the first factor, genome sequencing. Genome sequencing, gene editing, gene modeling, that's the first thing AI is helping today. As I said, that the best thing AI can do is it can read images. It can make 3D models. It can scan images. It can make 3D models. So whenever we have to look for a target for identification of a disease, whenever we have to look for a potential candidate for the target, potential drug for the candidate, AI helps us. It helps us sort millions and billions of data and can tell this is the protein, this is how this protein folds, this is how it will happen, and we can design a medicine. Virtually, I'm using a word design. We can design a medicine for a particular patient to be administered even before doing any trials. There was a time when we used to say that drugs are going to take 20 years to study or manufacture, but now with AI, with a lot of data, this thing has become much easier. The cost of producing a drug is going to go substantially down. That's what since morning we are discussing how the drugs will be affordable. Drugs would be affordable once we have intervention of AI. the people will have more and more access to the cheaper medicines, because medicines are not going to take 20 years to manufacture. If we can reduce the time to half, from 20 to 10, 10 to 5, the cost is going to substantially go down. If the drug was going to cost you $2 billion or $5 billion, and if it reduced to half, so you can see, imagine the cost. The next thing, once you have identified the target, once you have identified what structure you're going to do, so then comes your final modeling. Okay, what product you are going to apply, the target, the candidate. Now you can design a drug candidate according to the protein site where you want to apply this. The structures are available, modelings are available, you can do reverse engineering, and you practically know how you're going to implement it. Once we have it in our hand, at that time, it again reduces the cost. And for doing all this, you don't need a 20-acre factory. All these things are happening in small labs of this size, just 2,000, 5,000 square feet facilities, and people are developing products. We have a common friend, and we're in Bangkok, sitting in a 2,000 square feet facility with just 16 people. So they had developed a process for identifying a cancer, 1 in a million cell, to the remotest possibility. Even if you have 1 cell in 1 million, they can detect it. Now the question is, the technologies have become available. To take the technologies to the market, you need a next step, but this is all easing out. Next comes, once you have a drug development ready, then comes to the taking the drug to the market. Clinical trials, phase 1, phase 2. You can imagine where we are going. All the data available again. You have the data of the previous molecules. You have the data of the drugs which are already implemented. You just compare and do an analysis, and you know where you are going. And once the person goes to the market, the clinical trials, even in the early stages, AI is going to throw the records. Where is it going? How can we do it? How can we improve? You can go back to the drawing board, do some maths again, do some, I would say, games on the computer again. You will come to the fresh correction. If this error is coming, or if this side effect is coming, why it is coming, which chain do you have to change, it can tell you better. Of course, the drug is ready, you have the development ready, then comes the real picture, then okay, you come to the manufacturing. That's where the India story comes again. India is the manufacturing hub of the medicines. We are the pharmacy of the world. If we use AI, we use digitalization, improve our manufacturing process, and we know that, okay, what processes to do, what reactions to use, AI can help us understand which are the best processes to do, which are the best reactions to take place, which is the process which will have least impact on the environment, which is the process will be most cost effective, and more importantly, which is the process which will make the life cheaper, which will make the medicines affordable. I think that's what the final conclusion comes. Next comes, of course, the healthcare delivery. In a large country like India, we badly need digitization and the superpower AI to help us. If we want to reach to every village, every district, every town, it is, I won't say virtually impossible, it is practically impossible to collate all the data and somebody sitting with 50 computers and analyzing the data. AI is going to be very helpful once we have the data, and the more data we have, the computer is learning every day. Once computer is learning every day we are improving what is happening in any particular district. Is there any disease coming up? Is there any, I would say, any new disease, or I would say any profile coming up, something like COVID or something which is anything erupting, any infection coming up in any particular area, we can always see that. And once we have all this, now the point of discussion is, okay, why are we here? We are here today to say that as an industry, as healthcare professionals, with the help of the government, we all have to work together to make it a success. And there's only one gap in the whole story, in the whole system, that is the ethical guidelines. While we work for the AI, it has got so much of freedom and it can do so much for us. Some people have got some dirty mind. They can always misuse the AI. It can misuse the results. It can feed in the wrong input to get a wrong message through the AI. So whenever you're using AI, always a word of caution, be a little more fair, be a little more cautious, so that whenever we are there for any long-term strategy or long-term solution, so we find that AI is going to help us. I would say these are the broad thoughts for today. So if you have any questions, So we are open for it, or otherwise I have tons and tons of data to share with you.
Hello. Hi, sir. Glad to have you amongst us.
Yeah.
You mentioned about affordability. I wanted to know brand Morepen's role in healthcare affordability and accessibility over the years across the country now. You wish to throw some light on it?
I know it's a public platform, so it's not good to talk about Morepen, but I must say that we are sitting in India, and being in India, we are a generic country. So we make generic medicines at affordable price. That's, I would say, given. So we are the world leader in manufacturing a couple of medicines. If I'll give you the name, you won't understand. But it's loratadine, montelukast, atorvastatin, which we make at the cheapest in the world. I won't say cheapest, most affordable. If, for example, just to compare, if the price of some drug in US is, for example, say $100, in India, we produce almost for a fraction, maybe $10 to $12. So that's what India is, the story is. And the second is, of course, within India also, naturally there's a competition, a lot of companies are doing within APIs. Then the second is that we are the largest and the only manufacturer of glucometers in the country, BP monitors in the country. And now, of course, with a more and more better reach, so we have been able to bring down the prices of these two products by almost 60%. From the top. So affordability is there and reach is there. And as we go forward, that is what our whole theme is, in line with Modi ji's dream of affordability and providing medicines at an affordable cost. We are supplying to Jan Aushadhi also. We are supplying to the other clinics also. So as and when we get opportunities, we are here for the country.
Thank you.
Any other?
Hello, sir. Actually, I wanted to ask, how does quality and safety of the healthcare products are affecting the healthcare sector in India and the progress of the healthcare sector in India right now?
I think you are bang on the point. So whenever we talk of affordability, people always confuse if it is affordable or if it is going to is cheap, if it won't be of the right quality. But I want to clear at this forum, at this platform, in pharmaceutical sector, in healthcare sector, there's nothing like a substandard. So you always have a standard, you always have a reference point. There's always because for example, if there's a molecule structure, the molecule structure is going to be same. If you reduce one hydrogen, one carbon, or you add one extra nitrogen, it's not going to be the same molecule. It's not going to impact. If it is montelukast sodium, it's going to be montelukast sodium. The only difference can be in some sort of excipients, colors, which is not very important. So pharmaceutical safety and quality is always assured, and we as a company have never compromised on this. And just to share with the audience again that our facilities are approved by US FDA repeatedly, and last FDA we had a hat-trick of US FDA approvals with nil 483 without any observation from the FDA. And in last 25 years of our supplies to different markets over 80 countries, we have never got any material recall, we have never got any import alerts, we have never got any, I would say, bad word from the market, no customer complaints, no, I would say, retrieval or recall of the product. So quality and safety is most important.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Pleasure.
Sir, when do we see the real impact of artificial intelligence in India? Or it's already there?
I couldn't get the question, please.
When do you see the real impact of artificial intelligence in healthcare in India?
I would say that it starts today, and the only thing is we'll have the teething problems for the implementation. Once we start the implementation, we are not going to have immediate results. But for example, I'm saying that if we use AI, the cost of production, the cost of research will reduce. No, that will show impact maybe 3 to 5 years. If I say cost of manufacturing reduces, it may show results immediately. If I say, for example, my cost of purchase will reduce, that will be immediate. But more effect is going to come between 3 to 5 years. But when we are talking today, AI as our new buddy, this is for future. This is evolving, dynamic, and feeding. AI is hungry for data. So the more we give, the more feed we give, the more it will work better. I would rather give an example for even if you hire a peon or a driver, or for that matter, even if you hire a vice president, you have to train them. You wait for 6 months for him to perform. If you hire a salesman, you wait for 1 year for them to perform. But when you buy a new refrigerator, you don't wait for 1 hour. बोलते भाई सुबह से चलाया चल नहीं रहा, क्यों नहीं आ रहा? So, but when you're talking of AI, yeah, it's a long-term thing. We are investing for the future. It's our new buddy, and this buddy doesn't get obsolete. It has defied obsolescence, and it grows with you. It grows with data. It grows every day.
Thank you.
Good. I'm so excited that this was my favorite topic. Of course, I told that my favorite topic was obsolescence, and now we got a new friend which doesn't get obsolete. Thank you, guys. Enjoy the afternoon.